Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here, how are we doing today? Welcome to another Epic 7 video. We're going to talk about the Sanctuary again. I've already done this video, but after rewatching it, I talked about it when I didn't really understand the game fully, and I feel like I understand the Sanctuary now, and I really know for sure which are the prime things to be getting. So hopefully this is just a better video of one I've already done. So let's start things off, just in order of things I think are necessary. So this Forest of Souls, I think this middle one is absolutely the first thing every single person ever should get. It's just the best thing you should get. You can be making 3 phantasms at once. Don't be making penguins, be making phantasms. The other thing is here, Time Blessing is one of the ones I didn't really think was good at the start. I thought it was just kind of useless. After all, who really wants to reduce time by 15%? Like, you're going to be sleeping anyway. But that's where we're wrong. I didn't really realize it until now, but the amount of stigma it takes to improve or to quick run one of these things is decreased when the overall time decreases. So if you take away 15% time of your total crafting time for these Molagoras or these Phantasmas, it takes the stigma required down to 15% less. So that is super amazing. And I do really recommend not to spend your stigma until you get this 15% increase. What I did was try to plan out in my head when I could get those 15% and just save my stigma. So I went in with like 5,000 stigma when I had the minus 15% and just saved a butt ton of it and got a ton of extra phantasms on top of it. The next one here I think is super important is the Heart of Orbis. I think you need the Mirror of Light maxed. Just getting that extra Sky Stone is invaluable to me. I also really like the 50% extra of 200%. I swear it procs like 50% of the time. It's just super amazing. And I also picked up 1 in Cradle of Life, and this is just here so I don't cap too much. I'm not sure if this is worth it yet. I definitely will not go over 1. But just as a starter, 1 seems to be doing me just fine. I hit cap every now and then, just when I sleep, but overall I think it's worth it, and I don't think it's worth the extra point yet. Next up we have the High Command, and this is one I was really wrong about in the last video. My goal was to improve these as much as I could and just try to get the best follower missions going at all times, and then I realize it's not really important at all, and they're kind of not worth it. So obviously you need the middle one for Floating Station. I would not get the Barracks one anymore, and I would just get 1 in the left for Administration. And the reason being is if you can play a lot, then you can get everything you need right at the start. So I always send out the 2-hour or the 4-hour one just because I'm a little lazy, and I always send out the 2-hour one. And I only ever do the hunt missions just to get these ancient coins. They're by far the most valuable resource you can get from these. And I was originally getting conquest points for the gear, but I found out that's not really worth it, which is why I don't touch these anymore. And if you go down to more, let's say we have 3 into this, you will get 34 coins for 12 hours, and that's just not good compared to the other options. You get way more from the earlier ones. It's just way better for your time spent. Again, that said, if you cannot log in every half an hour, every hour like I can, then it might be worth it to upgrade these for the longer missions, but I still really don't think so. Especially since you have 4 hours available. It's running already. 4 hours available, which is good enough of a compromise. So I definitely, if I redo this one, I do 1 in the left, 1 in the middle, and 0 in the right is my plan for this. And finally, another big one, and this is the Steel Workshop. This one is 100% needing to be maxed for every single person IMO, but you don't need to rush it. I really don't think you should be crafting too much until like the end-ish game. And I know we're nowhere near end game now, but until you get to like dungeon level 8 or so is when I think you should really start crafting. Once you can hit that tier 5 and tier 6 gear is when this really starts mattering. So what I did personally was I did the middle one first, and I did the right one second. Those 2 are the most important. And then I tried to craft just the absolute minimum possible. Like if I had enough for a tier 6, I would craft a tier 6. But overall, I just tried not to do it. And then I farmed up until getting the 3 more Breath of Orbises in hard mode and got the full thing. And then I just went nutso on crafting because 30% is a lot of gold. I went in with 5 million gold or something like that when I went to craft, and 30% of 5 million is what, like 1.5 million or something? Like, that's a lot of gold to be saving for this. Like, that's a ridiculous amount when you look at that way. So I really recommend to do what I did and just try to save your crafting and eventually craft it all at once you have everything. And also, just because you have these here and you have these here and these here doesn't mean you need to craft with them. In fact, I would not craft with them. I think it's a waste of gold to craft anything tier 4 or lower unless you're specifically looking for a piece of gear. And also, as a side note, I really think you should be crafting boots 99% of the time, unless, again, you're specifically looking for a piece of gear. So, just to recap here, I think by far the most important is this one. This is what you should do before anything. Get this Time's Blessing and Soul Isle extension ASAP. That needs to happen, no problem. You also need to get one in the left here and one in the middle, and you also need to get this one if you can. But if you're somebody who can't really get to the higher end stages, because this is difficult to get this many, these last like 3 or 4 Breath of Orbises really took me a long time to get. If you're somebody who just can't make it there, I would really probably put off the Heart of Orbis just to get these steel workshops in, assuming you can get to like the 8th floor or something. But then again, if you can get to the 8th floor, you probably should be able to get the hard mode Breath of Orbises. So that's about all I wanted to say here. That's my priority list. I hope this helps you out. I really had to rethink this, and I really think this is correct now. I don't think there's really any room for argument. Like, you don't want to do this one ever, really. Like, you don't care about your penguins. You also don't want to do the right one anymore, and you also don't really want to do the middle or left. You absolutely 100% need all of these too. So honestly, I think the only thing that's really up for contention right now is the Heart of Orbis and how worth it the Cradle of Life and the Benedictory Sanctum are. So overall, I think you're pretty safe upgrading everything I have here, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye!